Well, I have a microphone, and you don't.
So you will listen to every damn word I have to say!
Welcome to the You, Me, and the Scene podcast, brought to you by Revival Recordings.
Hey guys, welcome back to the You, Me, and the Scene podcast, brought to you by Revival Recordings. We haven't recorded in a little bit. The episodes you've been listening to were a little pre-recorded, so we're back together. Down E this week, but we're gonna touch on some recent topics, and then we're gonna play a game that hopefully will get people talking. We're gonna throw out some hot takes. So,
a game of complaining. Which is
our favorite pastime.
What I'm best at. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I mean, I don't know if you guys, one of the topics that I was going to talk about was the new Bearings album. So I don't know if you guys listened to it, but it's really good if you haven't. It came out recently. So
I haven't.
Anybody else that's out
I'll
there?
give it a listen to.
Yeah. Me and Brandon have had it on repeat. So, but I'm a big Bearings fan.
Cool.
Yeah.
So me. I don't know. Has anybody else released?
I
feel like I had another album in my head.
Oh, I'm not sure. I was just gonna say I've just been back in the cycle of listening to the same like 2 albums over and over again because that's how my brain works. But
sometimes you just need the comfort of known music.
Yeah.
Speaking of known music, we were just talking about this. We lost Jimmy Buffett and the singer of Smash Mouth in the same week. Yeah.
So heartbreaking.
I'm on screen. It looks like I'm smiling, but I'm not smiling. On the inside. I actually really like Smash Mouth, and I'm pretty sad about it. But I just found out, so I don't think it's hit me. I'm kind of both of my meme bands have been affected this week. I was talking to my friend today or yesterday about how Jimmy Buffett passed away, and I was like, man, I was just talking about him, and then I was like, well, I talk about Jimmy Buffett a lot, actually. But I'm not even a fan of his music that much. I just think his whole parrot head aesthetic is really fascinating and kind of funny. And it's just a bummer. But
anyway.
I
mean, you can't go to a beach or anywhere without hearing one of his songs.
Margaritaville. Yeah.
My dad got married at the Margaritaville Hotel in Pensacola.
I mean, you're forever entwined with Jimmy Buffett.
He's part of the story. This is probably not appropriate to bring up in the same sentence as his death, but there's a comedian named Chris Fleming who has a really funny bit on YouTube about Jimmy Buffett, and he says, on the eve of your 40th birthday, Jimmy Buffett comes down your chimney and tries to convince you to throw in the towel.
Oh, God.
And maybe we could put the link to that somewhere because it's really funny, and I quote it at least once a week. But, rip.
Definitely. I know. Poor Jimmy. That was skin cancer, right? Yeah. Or not. Or something. He had some type of cancer.
Yeah. It was skin cancer, which is horribly, I don't know if ironic is the right word, but depressingly ironic.
At the beach, and he's in the sun.
Yeah, his whole thing is beach. His job is beach.
His beach.
Right.
His beach.
This is a reminder to wear your sunscreen when you're out in the sun, guys. Wear sunscreen.
Wear sunscreen.
Yeah, and then I know that as we're recording this, literally we got on and the news of the singer of Smash Mouth news just dropped. So it's on the top of our feeds and all our Instas. So everybody put that into consideration too, that we literally just found out before hopping on this for that one. So which is sad.
Hang on, I just want to make sure we actually say his name instead of just saying the singer of Smash Mouth. Hang on. Steve Harwell. Steve Harwell was his name.
Yes. And never going to be able to watch Shrek without thinking of him. So, yeah.
Literally was on my Hinge profile. It says the soundtrack to my life is, and you could put a voice prompt, and I just had all-star. Like, that album is actually really good. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head, but that album that All-Star is on is, even in a non-memey context, is a solid early 2000s album.
Have you guys ever seen Rat Race? The movie Rat Race?
Yes. No. Yes. Amanda, you would die.
The reason you need to watch
it,
but the reason I bring it up is because they end up at a Smash Mouth concert at the end.
Yes, they do. Yep.
It's so funny. You'll have to go watch it, Amanda.
I watched that movie so many freaking times when I was younger. Like, it's so Amanda,
crazy.
You have to find
like
it.
Some of the things,
somewhere
some of the humor
that you can stream it.
It sounds campy, and camp is my thing, which is also, I think, why I felt a connection to Jimmy Buffett without actually like caring about his music, because his whole thing is just like camp, beach. Right. I'm an old guy at the beach drinking margaritas. He had a marijuana brand. He sold like disposable marijuana vapes at one point that were shaped like surfboards. It's like he's marketing directly to me.
Like, were they?
That's crazy.
I'm gonna have to look these up.
I googled it. You can't. They don't make them anymore. But there were dab pens shaped like surfboards. They were called something like beach reefer or something like that. It was just the most like campy, ridiculous.
Oh my gosh!
But now that we've talked about Jimmy Buffett and Steve Harwell for 5 whole minutes.
The other thing that has happened recently, just this weekend, it's Labor Day weekend, and there were some festivals going on, and I know we've talked about festival fails before, but my God, I mean, Burning Man was an act of nature, so, but after last year's Burning Man, when they were like, also, I feel like Burning Man just happened in the spring. Like, I feel like it wasn't, like, I feel like it just happened. Doesn't it feel like it wasn't that long ago?
Yeah, but I also get it mixed up with every other, like, rich person festival. Like, you could just show me pictures of Burning Man and tell me it was Coachella, and I'd be like, yeah.
Coachella, you have access to things, because, like, even though you're in the desert, quote unquote, you're in Coachella Valley, you're in Palm Springs, you have access. Burning Man, you have to drive so far into the desert. And I just remember the pictures from last year of people running out of gas because the traffic to get out. And so you're in the desert and you don't have a gas station and stuff like that. So I'm like, why? This is insane that people go and like do this. But yeah, I mean, it seemed like people were making the most of it. And just rolling with it out there in the mud. I did see this morning that there was one death, but I don't know what it was related to.
They said it wasn't. Yeah, they said it wasn't associated with the weather,
the flooding.
Stuff.
Yeah, I keep seeing people say like, yeah, there's usually at least like a death or two, which like on one hand is insane to. Like, oh yeah, someone died. That's not a big deal. Like that's kind of an insane attitude to have about it.
That's a yearly occurrence here at Burning Man.
Yeah. I feel like when you mix drugs and desert heat, you know, people are. That's what's gonna happen.
Plus, isn't there something scientific about like the chemical makeup of the sand and how it's like extra corrosive to skin or something? And now it's all mud. I don't know. I'm getting all this information secondhand from people on TikTok, but you know, Burning Man does not seem like it would be my cup of tea in the best of conditions, let alone
I would not.
I don't want the desert.
That would be too much anxiety for me. It's not even just like desert and being hot. It's like not having access, like immediate access if there's an emergency, like a freaking flood, like that torrential down. Yeah, like you don't have I can't be in an area where I can't.
If anything has changed me,
go if I need to.
If Thea having medical problems and stuff has changed my perspective on where I'm at. Like I need to be like we went to the Outer Banks this summer, and we took the ferry over to Ocracoke Island, and it's only accessible by a ferry. And I was like, can't stay here ever, just in case something happens.
I just like between. This might be kind of an out of touch thing to say because I know someone's the response to what I'm about to say is always, oh, it's not all rich people. I know poor people that save up all year to go to Burning Man. And I'm like, at the end of the day, Burning Man tickets are like $600 to $2,000 depending on what you pay for.
And you have to pay for all everything, the camping and everything on top of that. A lot of those people bring RVs and shit.
Right. So it really feels like, and I'm not the first person to say this, but it really feels like wealthy people going out to the desert to cosplay being poor and do a bunch of drugs with their friends. Which, if this insane downpour in the middle of the desert, it's also a sign of global warming. But if that's not a sign from the universe that you should just do drugs at home like an adult, then I don't know what is.
That's going to be a clip piece. Do drugs at home like an adult.
Maybe that should just be our title for this episode.
Do drugs at home like an adult. Yes.
It's just between the submarine stuff earlier in the year and like this Burning Man stuff. It's just getting kind of exhausting to keep hearing about rich people in turmoil.
Right.
You know, I can't care. I hope everyone's okay. Truly, I don't want people to die, but like,
right.
They were also like, it's not that they knew that the conditions were going to be that bad, but they knew that weather was coming, and no one.
Oh, it was
no one.
Okay, I thought it was like
laughed,
out of the norm. But were they warned?
At least on TikTok, people were saying that like they were warned that it's not like it. I mean,
it wasn't a flash
it came out of nowhere
like
in the sense that like it
came
out of nowhere in the sense that like it rained in the goddamn desert. Like that's a red flag. But I'm pretty sure people knew like a storm was coming, and you know, but
just were like,
I want people to be okay, but also I'm kind of sick of hearing about it.
Be smart. Be smart. Go out into the desert.
Yeah, and then Electric Zoo, which is in New York.
Yeah, in New York City, I think.
Electric Zoo was a disaster this weekend. I mean, I'm not like an EDM person, so I wouldn't have been there, but
which is why I wish E was here to give more insight on it. But
yeah, we were talking about it a little bit last night together. But so I think they had canceled Friday's event and said the stage wasn't ready. And then I know yesterday they had like started late, I think on Saturday, like doors opened 2 hours late. And then last night they actually put out a statement like, we're at capacity. So anybody that's trying to get in can't. So everybody that had tickets that was not in yet was not allowed in, which obviously they all rushed to the gates anyways. The video I saw was the police just being like, and I would honestly do the same thing. I'm not going to put my life on the police at that point are just like, I mean,
it is
the whole thing.
It's the police's job to put their life on the line for that kind of thing. Let's not let that slide. But
I don't know if I'd sit there with like a stampede of people though, and like you're going to catch 5 of them out of hundreds. They didn't even know the thing I read was like hundreds, could be even thousands that rushed in. So I'm like,
dang.
I think everyone.
That's so dangerous.
No one did anything right in this situation. The people that rushed it were in the wrong. The people putting on the event were in the wrong. And I'm kind of shocked that it wasn't worse than with everything that's happened recently. Like, thank God, obviously, but
right.
I was gonna say I have like major fears in life, and one of them is like human stampede, and I don't want to be any part of that. So if I had seen that, I'd be like, no, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna pack my bags, take my loss, and go home. Bye.
I just don't. They were saying. I heard a rumor that my bangs are so in a weird spot right now. But I heard a rumor that they got to capacity because security started letting people in who had tickets from the canceled day who like weren't supposed to go. I don't know if that's really the case or not, but I can't fathom how an outdoor event gets to capacity.
Where's
so clearly they just
City?
I'm not sure. But clearly they like oversold or I don't know. But
it seems like they just didn't have it together from the start to like not even have the stage ready and stuff. Because it's one thing if it's like when we were young, the stage wasn't up because the winds, like safety, like you can't actually put it up, and then there's like you just not having it on time.
Right.
I was seeing a bunch of comments that were like, reminds me of when we were young, and you know, I'm not one to defend any huge company or anything, but when we were young was a legitimate trying to keep people safe. We can't do this with the wind advisory that's happening, and especially like you were there, Courtney, and I was in Vegas at the time. It was scary wind, and that was a totally different thing than what happened at Electric Zoo.
Yeah,
and
just not being prepared.
Grinds my gears a little bit.
It's kind of like the Bonnaroo shit or like anything else. It's like, how are you just that unprepared, or how are you like, I don't know. Mm-hmm. It's like festivals go on all the time successfully, so I don't know if it's just people thinking that they have the means and like the experience to be able to put something like that on, and just not knowing what the fuck they're doing.
This wasn't the first Electric Zoo, though, was it? This has been
I don't think
a thing before, right?
But like I said, I feel like all the EDM ones are like electric something, so I get them confused.
Yeah, right. 2022. Yeah, Electric Zoo was a thing last year, and in 2021. I think it all is coming down to greed. These people, I think people are overselling shit and not spending the money or taking the precautions that they should to put these events on successfully.
Speaking of greedy people, Firefest 2.
What?
Oh yeah, they're selling tickets. Yeah. They're selling tickets for Firefest again. You know, the huge fail.
Well, who's putting it on?
It's the same guy.
I think it's
the same guy.
Yeah.
It's absolutely the same guy. Yeah.
Have we not learned a lesson? The people buying these tickets, have you not learned your lesson?
Billy McFarland.
Yeah, people are buying, I think it's the cheapest tier available, the cheapest tier sold out, but like...
How are you like allowed to do that?
He went to prison. He went to prison.
Is it not part of his like punishment or...
To not be allowed to do that again?
Yeah.
I don't know. But at this point, if you buy tickets to Fire Festival, like, it's your own fault. Go ahead. Don't get stuck on the island.
Maybe you'll have a great... Maybe, you know what? Maybe you'll have a great time. Maybe it will be the best festival in the world.
I hope they have a great time. But I also think they're dumb.
These people are buying it because they're like, we want to like be able to say we were there. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like we want to, even if it's a shit
the
show,
hype around
I want to be like, oh, I ate a piece of cheese abandoned on an island. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I just don't understand how anybody would keep working with this man and do this again. Like,
no.
I doubt anybody is. Like, I feel like it's all just a charade. Like, I can't imagine that any event organizer or artist or any professional would be like, yeah, I'm going to work with Billy McFarland.
Allow him to have his name on it, but it's a whole... Whatever. People are wild. Like I said, unless there's like when we were going to When We Were Young and Before When, everybody was a little like skeptic of it. And I was like, well, at least I'm in Vegas. There's a million other things to do. I'm not going to go to an island where I can't get off if I need to when I don't know, like, if it's going to be a success or not. Like, no. I'm not going to go to the desert. I'm not going to, like, if I'm going to go and I have other options around me, sure.
Like y'all were saying, these large-scale events are, like, stressful and anxiety-inducing enough as it is with, you know, the current climate of things, and there's, like, a mass shooting every 5 minutes, and it's too much to think about. I would rather just, like, go to the smaller shows that I like and see the artists that I like play longer sets. And that said, if I'm hired to work at a festival, I will go.
Amanda will be there. Hit her up.
On the revival front, we have some big news coming in October, so be sure to wait.
So it is coming out in October.
It is coming in October.
Cool. So, yeah, we had a meeting about it the other day.
That's as much as we can tell you at the moment, but
yes.
We just can't tell you yet. We just
you don't have to wait that long. You don't have to wait that long. October.
Not to be like big things coming, but big things coming.
Yes.
And it costs you nothing to wait.
Yeah. So that'll be exciting, and we'll be able to talk about it once it's announced. Woo! But yeah, so that's all the stuff I have going on. But
news.
Then now we want to play. I saw this meme the other day that was like, me and my friends play Don't Get Me Started, this game. And then they pick a topic and the other friends have to like argue about it or like go on a rant about it. So I thought it'd be fun to do it music edition.
To be fair, this game is literally just what having a conversation with me is.
And I'm like, and we do this on the podcast anyways. I mean, it's basically like when we do our hot takes, but you know,
yeah,
we're gonna put it into one segment of us just ranting about things that aggravate us.
Yes.
Yeah, I think, Courtney, maybe you should go first, because I feel like mine are a little hyper-specific, and I want to get the vibe of how this is going to go first.
We can get hyper-specific, but yeah. So, I mean, it could be, like, anything in the music, things that we'll be talking about, like, things that might bug us about bands or fans or just the culture or the genre in general. So, So,
I have a story in mind.
Oh, all right, we can start though. Mine is, which we've gone on a rant before, so this will probably be a quick one that I've gone on a rant. Not all music has to be good to be enjoyed.
It's true. That's why you have guilty pleasures.
People get really angry about it though, and like, oh, that song sucks. It's like, okay, cool. I like shitty music.
Let me tell you, I love me some Nickelback sometimes, okay? I don't care what anybody says.
First of all, Nickelback should have never been the Nickelback when Imagine Dragons exists. First of all.
Yes.
Oh, well, I like Imagine Dragons.
But to the original point, not everything is for everyone. Let me listen to the same NSYNC record over and over again and be in my little happy place. That's all.
Right.
I was like, that does go in because one of my things was that people that can't enjoy like the quote unquote butt rock are not my type of people, okay? If you can't sit there and enjoy Nickelback, I don't want to hang out with you. If you can't enjoy Hinder, if you can't enjoy like all these bands, shut up.
Even in a meme funny way. Like, you can't tell me that sitting there and trying to sound like Chad Kroeger isn't fun.
Listen, they have some bangers. I don't. They have some really good songs. Like,
I never understood where like it started. You know what I mean? Like, because I feel like when they first came out, they were. And then I remember we were younger. It was like middle school, high school, and then people started being like, "Oh, that's like Nickelback isn't cool."
I specifically remember, I don't know if my mom actually had the CD or if it was just on the radio all the time, but I remember like being on vacation in elementary school and Nickelback was like all over the radio, and they were like kind of, at least in my child brain, were in the same vein as like Daughtry and Bon Jovi at the time.
Yeah.
And at some point it flipped, and I don't know why they're the only ones that got this treatment.
Doesn't make any sense.
When, I don't know. Justice for Nickelback, I guess.
Hashtag justice for Nickelback.
There are much shittier bands out there, okay?
There's so much shittier bands. Mumford and Sons, are you kidding me?
I like Mumford, but
that's a rabbit hole we could go down at some point.
Like,
but
I feel like that's kind of like a little genre of its own, is the Mumfords, the like the Imagine Dragon-ish like type of like, I can't think of the other bands I can think of off the top of my head that are Mumford, but like, you know what I mean? Like that type of music is like a little separated from the rocky like type of like Nickelback, Creed, like those bands that get that hate. Like
there's just certain Imagine Dragon songs that fall under the bro rock category that I could see being compared to like Nickelback and stuff like that. It's songs that like would be on Republican candidates' campaign trails and like people who cosplay being the underdog and stuff like that. Like,
oh, people that play Eminem and then get yelled at.
yeah, what's his name? Or like Ford truck commercials. That's a better example than.
Oh yes, that's a great example of abuse.
What's that one song? Welcome, na, 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 na. Is that even Imagine Dragons? Radioactive. That's Imagine Dragons, right?
That is Imagine Dragons.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Wow, look at me. I know shit. But that's a perfect one that, like, I'm pretty sure has been in, like, several car commercials. That's very, like, and that's why I think they get associated. Anyway, this is not relevant to the initial point, but.
This is what we do. We get off topic sometimes. But yeah, no, it does tie in where I was like, not all music has to be quote unquote good and quote unquote butt rock, as we call it. You know what? I listen to it. I enjoy it. I have a good time. Listen to my Nickelback and my Creed and my Hinder. Okay? And I'm not going to apologize for it.
I feel you.
Like,
she's not sorry about it.
Nope.
And I never will be. Let people enjoy music. But yeah, it kind of ties into like music can be like, not all music has to be like meaningful music. Like some of it can just be music to enjoy, to sit there and just like, there it is. That's my point. That's my hot take. Okay.
I don't know if that's a hot take. I mean, I feel like that's a
no, I feel like some people though are like, I feel like some people
there's some elitists
that have this like I feel like they are like the elite of like music and the meaning and blah blah. You can picture these people in your head. It's like just fucking listen to the song and bop your head and there you go. Like,
Haley, you got something you want to not get started on?
It's I'm not going to phrase it as like as Courtney did. I'll tell you the story.
Okay.
And then you can tell me what your thoughts are on it. So this happened to me recently, and I will not say the person's name, even though I know he's not going to listen to this.
Call him out.
So I was at my husband's work the other day, and there's this guy that works there, and he's younger than me. He's in his 20s. And Andrew came up to me and he was so mad because this person, I want to say his name so bad when I say this, but this person was saying that he didn't trust Andrew's opinion on music. And I was like, interesting. So I went to talk to him about it because he was talking about like pop punk and all that kind of stuff. And he's like, I said, where do I fit in? And he's like, oh no, I still wouldn't take your opinion either over another coworker's. And I'm like, you do know I work in the industry, right? He's like, yeah, but you don't know new pop. And I said, I don't know new pop punk. And I was like, give me a band.
Yeah, go ahead.
Give me a band. And he goes with confidence. And I'm like,
are you fucking kidding me?
They're not even a band anymore. They're not even a band anymore.
Stop.
I got on to him about this. And then Andrew, yes, I know. And then Andrew, and he said Grayscale too, which also is not a new band.
Grayscale's not new.
It's so funny to me because Andrew came up to me later, like, I know. He came up to me later that night and he goes, the excuse was, well, she just caught me off guard. No. I'm like,
first of all, obviously this person was a man, right? Because that's a man's voice. Yeah.
It's
so
the vibe.
I've had very similar conversations to that, always with men that think that, I just, don't even get me started.
See, this is exactly why I'm
if I was there, I would have turned around and said, oh, so you Googled pop punk and those ones came up? That's cute. Cool.
Dude, the fact that he said with confidence,
I was just like,
not saying with confidence.
I love with confidence. I'm just saying they're not even a band anymore.
Exactly.
Right.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with confidence or Grayscale, but I am saying they're two of the most popular acts in the genre. Like what the
And for
what was he
that
going to say? Neck
band,
deep next? Like,
right. For that to be the band that you bring up when I ask you to name a band, and I'm like, they're not even a band anymore. And then he's like, what? And he looked it up, and he's like, oh yeah, well they just disbanded last year. But I'm like, oh, the humanity. I left that day feeling much better after that conversation.
Yeah, I feel like also I hate like, don't get me started on people like that it's like everybody has different tastes. So if you're gonna sit there and say you don't trust my taste in music, it's like, okay, I literally don't care.
Well,
don't care.
There's definitely there's people whose opinions I wouldn't take seriously on music things, but it's not like I'm going up to them being like, you don't know what pop punk is.
I feel like there's definitely like, if we were in a conversation with people in the industry that wanted to like say like, oh, this band is amazing, like like gonna be the next big thing, and we all listen to it and we're like, what? Like, and then like someone who's just a music listener, like a friend, and we're just suggesting things and they're like, oh, I'm not gonna trust it. It's like, what do you know? Like, also,
it just, that conversation just so gives me the vibe of like,
name 3 bands on your t-shirt.
it just so gives me the vibe of like a guy, like a guy coming up to me at a bar and being like, literally, like I have a Weezer tattoo on my shoulder that says just like Buddy Holly, and I've literally been like, oh, you're a Buddy Holly fan? Like, I've gotten that from guys before. I'm like, first of all, no. Second of all, you're not as deep as you think you are. So it's just, why do men?
Well, that's weird. Anyway. That kind of goes into one of my other topics that was like wearing band t-shirts, because I personally don't give a fuck if you listen to the band of the t-shirt you're wearing. And I hate nothing more than someone coming up and being like, I mean, all the bands I listen to are like, I got at shows or like buy their merch because I listen to them. But like, I have a Misfits tee. It's like not like I don't have the don't know the Misfits, but it's like I'm not a huge Misfits fan. But I do like the t-shirt, and it's a great outfit because it's like a t-shirt dress that I wear with my tall boots, and it's the perfect color gray, and I'm gonna keep fucking wearing it. And if you came up to me and asked me, name 3 Misfits songs off the top of my head, wouldn't be able to do it. And I don't care. I don't care.
There are some bands that like I actively don't listen to but have super sick merch, and I think that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go up to anybody ever and be like, name 3 songs. But it's a joke in our house to do it. Like Thea was wearing
I think that guy would
yesterday. Yeah, maybe. But Thea was wearing an Alesana shirt yesterday. I'm like, name 3 songs, Thea. But
she probably could. She probably could at this point.
Listen, when the band had the trilogy vinyls, one of my jobs was to listen to the vinyls to make sure that they were correct. And so Thea was like, I don't even 2 months old, and we were listening to the vinyl, so she's well aware. I have video of me with her listening to the vinyl, so she's well aware of what Alesana is. But so it's just a joke, really, at this point, to be like, name 3 bands. I mean, name 3 songs from that band.
There was this TikTok a while ago where it was like a teacher or something that would go up to students and was like, but they were like middle school like age students, be like, name 3 songs of like, and I'm like, 1, their parents bought them that fucking shirt. Shut up. 2, like, I know younger kids that listen like,
was it a man?
Kids listen. Yes, it was, of course. And so like, there was 2 sides of the argument. There were a lot of people that were like coming at him and were like, dude, they're kids. Like, even if they know like the song, if it came on the radio, they could probably sing along to it. They might not know like the name of it or something. They're fucking kids. Like, leave them alone. 2, their parents might just
I would report him to the school.
I'm like, you think I'm not going to put my child in like a bunch of band shirts that they like, and they're not even going to be able to read? Yeah. Shut up. It's just,
That's like, sure. I have a t-shirt that says Navy on it. That's like if someone came up to me and was like, did you serve?
It's like I wear like I have fucking used to wear like t-shirts to colleges I didn't go to because they were like friends or like shit like that. It's like, no, I have like an AU t-shirt and people were like, oh, you went to Auburn? I'm like, nah, I visited my cousin there once for like 3 days. That was like 10 years ago. No, I don't care about AU football.
That's so funny.
Like, it's just let people live, okay? Sometimes it just makes the outfit cute.
I think a lot of my overarching, don't get me started, is toxic fandoms. But within that umbrella, specifically the people who, whenever someone in a band gets outed for doing something shitty, and the comments are all like, such and such band member would never, at least we still have such and such. I'm like, stop saying that. Stop putting these people on pedestals, because that's how we all get disappointed.
Yep.
They're people.
Don't get me started.
That's all.
Don't get me started.
Don't even get me started.
Because regardless of how much you think you know these bands or these people, just from like going to meet and greets or listening to their music, you don't. You don't know them.
I understand feeling a closeness to the bands that you love, but especially when they're like internationally known, famous musicians, it's kind of weird to talk about them like you know them. Or like even, and this reaches into like some subsections of the Swifties. I think the Gaylor shit is like super toxic and weird. Like thinking you know these famous people to the extent of like actively speculating and creating a narrative about their sexuality. That's just another example of it. I'm sure there's other bands who are like,
oh yeah, I mean like the One Direction.
Don't even get me started.
Always, like Harry Styles like gets that shit and stuff all the time, where it's just like, oh, he's gay. It's like, he has not shown that at a point, and even if he is, and it hasn't come out, leave him alone. That goes for anybody. Leave them alone. It's not for you to speculate.
And it kind of, I keep going back to like Fall Out Boy and My Chemical Romance specifically. While I also deeply love these bands, they're the first two that everyone brings up every time. They're like, at least we still have blah blah blah, or at least blah, blah. I'm like, yes, I love them, and to my knowledge they have done nothing shitty, but like you're jinxing us all. You're gonna screw it all up.
You'll never like, you don't know. You don't know, especially because they've been around for so long. You don't know how they were when they were younger. When we were young.
And like, to another toxic fan, there's a couple more layers here. Leaking music. I think that shit's weird. Why would you leak? If you love these artists so much, why would you actively seek out things that they don't want out there yet and like ruin the surprise for everybody else? I don't know if this is just a me thing, but if I see that a band I like had music leaked, I purposely don't listen to it until it's supposed to come out. But I think that might just be a me thing.
No, it's not. No. I wouldn't do that.
I agree. And it's like, I feel like especially artists, like leaked music. This has happened to Taylor Swift, like way back when she started. She has had leaked music of songs that didn't make it onto albums and have never been released, like have never publicly been released besides that, like leaking. So it's like these artists go through a lot to curate an album and like pick the songs that go on it and tell the story they want to tell. So it's like, yeah, why wouldn't you want to listen to that the way it's supposed to be listened to? I don't know. That's just me.
Now, if it's a situation where like the artist, you know, leaks it themselves, or like if it's at the artist's discretion, that's different. But if it's people actively seeking out, you know, something that like a scorned intern uploaded somewhere, like
anything, like or like anything. Who had their someone had their Twitter hacked recently? Who was it? Which band was it? I can't think of
it was Kellen Quinn.
Kellen Quinn's. Was it his personal Twitter?
I think it was his personal Twitter. It was something about like selling MacBooks, which is a funny callback to some other earlier scene drama, like way back in the day, which we don't have to talk about here. But continue.
I mean that could just be like because there's so many like scam things and whatever going on. But But I also feel like there's fans that feel like they would be accomplishing something by getting into like those accounts or doing things like that. Like, it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like,
to touch on scams and stuff like that really quick before we move on, I saw, like, right before we hopped on, apparently people are pretending to be the members of Sleep Token and, like, trying to talk to fans. They posted on their Instagram story. I read an article about it this morning. They posted on their Instagram story that, like, hey, if anybody reaches out to you and says that they're part of Sleep Token, they're not part of Sleep Token. And whoever's doing that, you're a piece of shit. I wish horrible things for you.
Well, remember a few months ago,
you can only imagine what those people are asking of fans, saying, you know.
Like, no band member is ever gonna message you and ask for money or anything, so do not respond to those things. We had a couple months ago, someone was, remember, pretending to be Sean, and it was funny because I'm like, I'm like, all fans, like, if you're a real Alesana fan, like, you know, Sean does not use social media. Like, he's just, he's not active on it. He has never engaged in that way. Like, no,
I don't think that person was even a fan. It was like a blank page that said, like, Sean Milky fan, and it just
and it was like, I'm so Sean, weird. Want to talk?
Yeah, they started commenting in like the Alesana Army group, like, hey, if anyone wants to talk, blah, blah. No, that's not Sean. I promise.
And I think there's like fans that like just feel like the fandom we can talk about, like going back to Taylor Swift at Jack Antonoff's wedding the other weekend. What is wrong with people?
Oh yeah,
why are you showing up there? That is psychotic behavior.
Insane.
That's crazy. Yeah.
If I had a child and I found out that they went there, I would literally lock them in a room. Like, nope, you're never leaving the house again. That is like, you are.
So this is another don't get me started. This is another don't get me started thing about a specific situation. Back when I worked at the recording studio, Mayday Parade was there for a couple months. And one day the studio had two buildings. One was all bedrooms and one was like the actual studio building. And I was walking between to do like laundry or something, and a car pulls up and it's full of these teenage girls with their mother that said, like, we heard the band was here. Can they come out and say hi? And I was like 19. I did not confront this person, but what I wanted to be like is like, what the fuck is wrong with you? They're not selling tickets to this thing. It's not like they're out in public. Like, they're living here right now. That's creepy. Who raised you people? Like, don't do shit like that.
Like, if you're waiting after a show to meet a band member, that's one thing. A show that you just went to, and they're kind of expecting that they're gonna have like little fans outside. Right. Any other instance, unless you like randomly walk by them on the street and want to be like, oh my god, hi, do not like show up where people are. or even if like you hear a band's out getting coffee or something like that, somewhere in public is totally different. But if you heard a rumor about like where they live, where they're staying, a private like hotels, somebody's wedding, anything like that, maybe reevaluate what you're doing. Embarrassing. It's embarrassing behavior.
Yeah, it's scary. It sounds unsafe. I'm sure Jack Antonoff specifically, he's a pretty famous dude himself. And being so closely associated with Taylor Swift, I can imagine
his wife is an actress. Like, that was a star-studded freaking event in itself.
Can you imagine anyone who isn't Jack Antonoff, like one of Taylor Swift's like childhood friends, inviting her to her wedding and like having these swarms of thousands of people show up?
No, they were chanting Taylor outside their reception.
God, insane. Insane behavior.
I'd be going insane. Like, it's embarrassing. Don't do it.
Embarrassing. You're embarrassing.
You are so embarrassing. I just can't imagine. Like, even I think there's like instances where like I've seen the Maine out to dinner once, right before a show, and they just seemed like they were already getting swarmed. And I was like, I'm not gonna like it's cool. It's cool to go say hi to your bands and stuff, but it's also like they're people too. They're just trying to eat. And I think I got that when I lived in LA. Yeah. I guess they were kind of close to to the venue, so like they probably assumed they'd be seen. But
again, like being in public or whatever, like that's again, I think there's a little more nuance of like they're eating, leave them alone. Like, you know, that's not always to each their own in that regard.
Yeah.
But if it's something where like they should be able to expect privacy, no.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, their homes. It kind of reminds me of like when TikTok influencers started like blowing up during COVID, and like these parents would drive these girls to these influencers because you know how they like get the houses
they all had
rented,
like
and they had to keep moving
like the
houses,
Team 10
and I'm
house
like,
and shit.
Yeah, but I'm like, some of these like influencers are like 16, 17, like they just got thrown into this. They don't know what the hell is going on. Like you can't just that's insane. Don't get me started.
Yeah.
Fan behavior. Behave yourselves. Like
Behave yourself.
Act like you were raised properly.
And it kind of goes, you know, just overarching themes of like, I think post-pandemic, everyone's a little bit more feral, and you just hear about like, you know, I don't know, I'm losing track of what I'm saying, but
No, it is. I think there's like, I feel like post-pandemic, I'm less feral. I'm like homebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm good to be home.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm like that too. But yeah, I just
does anyone have another specific one?
I do. You can throw one out, Amanda, while I look like through my job.
The only other specific one is don't get me started on merch cuts.
Oh,
yeah.
That is very specific.
It is, but it's also it's an important
2023. Right. Mm-hmm. It's 2023. Why are you taking what have you done to take this money from this band? Obviously, every band I talk to, like everyone's on the same page, like fuck merch cuts. I just fully don't understand if there's an argument, not even really an argument, but people say like, oh, people lost money over the pandemic and they need to be able to pay these artists to come in, so the venue has to make money or these companies need to make money. But why wouldn't you adjust the guarantees or how much you're charging for tickets or literally anything else besides taking a percentage of something that you had absolutely nothing to do with? And more and more, like on this last tour, our merch cuts used to be only soft merchandise, which means like only t-shirts, only like wearable things. And now more and more contracts are saying soft and recorded, meaning like I can take some of your records, I could take some of your CDs, I could take some of your posters, I could take all your shit, which is fucking ridiculous and out of line. So,
oh my god,
if you're taking a merch cut, if you're taking a merch cut, reevaluate your shit.
It really is something that they have absolutely nothing to do with. There's at no point
I could see
that they have any interaction with what's going on with merch.
I keep saying I could see, but like I can't. I understand why people think they're in the right to take those merch cuts, and I'm pretty sure I was talking to Dennis's wife about this a while ago, a few months ago at this point, but she was saying that merch cuts originated back in the day when like straight edge bands would play, and the merch cut would be to make up for what venues wouldn't be making from bar sales, which I'm sure she's right. I haven't looked into that too deeply, but like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. But now I don't work for a straight edge band. These bars are open. They're making bank at these bars, and most of these fans are over 21. If I'm not getting a bar cut, then why are you getting cut of my merchandise?
Exactly.
Don't even get me started.
That's a solid point. You should be given bar cuts. Again, I just like, it's like, even if you had one night where you weren't, well, even if the band's straight edge, it doesn't mean the fans are.
The fans are.
I don't understand.
Right.
I can't imagine like their alcohol.
I mean, I'm sure
was hit that hard. No.
I've never been to like a straight edge band show, or that's never been a part of the culture that I've been involved in, so I can't like speak to it. But when I say back in the day, I mean like
yeah.
I mean like 90s, early 2000s type of stuff, like long before I was ever a merch girl for anybody. It, from my understanding, it's just been such a it's one of those like just always been a thing kind of things. And it never ceases to make me angry.
I mean, it is something that like has been very prevalent for people. I feel like a lot of people are talking about it lately. So I have another topic that I feel like has been a lot lately is sampling other artists' music. Take it away. Don't get me started. Thoughts.
I'm wondering where you're coming from.
Well, there's been the argument of like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. And then there's been the argument of all artists like need to be paid out. So if you look at like situations, I feel like it happens a lot more in like pop music, like in general of what you're thinking of. Because if you think of like Olivia Rodrigo just had to pay out like Paramore and Taylor Swift on her last album and give them credit and stuff. And she lost out on like millions, probably like lot of money.
I mean, I don't think she's
doing that.
I don't think she's hurting per se.
Yeah,
but...
no, she's fine. She's definitely fine. And but so like that and like how much, because there were 2 songs I think credited, and one of them people were like, yeah, that sounds a lot alike. The one that everybody was like, that's Paramore, that's Paramore. I was like, I can hear the resemblance, but I like didn't think it was close enough.
Which
the
song?
One with the Taylor Swift,
Good For You
is Good For You. Yeah, I didn't think it was close enough that you had to like sit there and like you can hear once I sat there and like really listened, but I don't know. Like,
so
there's
if I was in
one
Paramore
of her other songs,
and I
that actually used like a legit like same chord sample and sounds exactly the same.
If I was in Paramore and I heard Good For You on the radio, I'd be like, okay, that's pretty close. Like you could sing Misery Business's chorus over that and it fits. But I think it gets kind of hairy. Like, I don't think it was to the point where people needed to be paid. I don't know. I guess I don't know how I feel about this.
I think I'm almost positive.
I don't know how to feel.
I'm almost positive Hayley Williams got like a 50% cut of that fucking song.
I guess I also think that there's probably a lot of other hands in the pot.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. It's like, I don't know if she was the one that complained or if like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like what are the odds that Hayley Williams specifically is the one that complained? And all of these people, I mean, maybe not Paramore at the time, who knows? I haven't looked at the song credits, but like these people all work with like producers and songwriters and stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's a case by case thing. Some people like Vanilla Ice and Queen. That's unacceptable. But you know, Olivia Rodrigo on Paramore, that's a little more hairy. I don't really know.
And it's like, at what point, because she obviously, like, when that album came out, she was like, talked about her influences of like music, and Taylor Swift and Paramore came up. So she's like, yeah, they're highly influenced. So it's like, where's the line of like people being like, you're copying someone or you're being influenced by this genre or this band? So I think it's always like a touchy subject. I think it is kind of a case by case like situation, really. But
like the Yellow Card Juice WRLD thing comes to mind again, and like I would have to, I think, didn't Yellow Card win that case?
Yeah, I think they did. Yeah.
I mean, I would have to listen to those songs again, but like it just at some point it does seem a little petty. But I'm also not a songwriter, so I feel like I don't have an accurate, I guess, I don't know how to phrase this. If someone was ripping off the kind of art that I make, I'm sure I would feel some kind of way about it. But, you know.
Yeah, I do feel like it's happened a lot, and more so in the pop realm. Not that it doesn't happen in rock, pop punk realms, but I mean, like the cases that we've talked about and are coming to mind to me are pop related. Like I think Ed Sheeran was just in one of these things, but they actually ruled in his favor. That it wasn't that. And like Katy Perry, I think she had one for Dark Horse back in the day.
I think it's also the case where sometimes like it's a much, much smaller band where it's like they're like, they stole this from us, and it's like they might not even know who you are. I mean, it's possible.
Yeah, the thing,
but like sometimes it's crazy.
Sorry, Haley, you say your point first because I don't want to get too far away from.
No, you're fine. I was just thinking about it. Like I've like in these conversations we hear like, when is it going to be where there's just no new, like you can't do anything else
music,
new. Like so
exactly, yeah,
like everything else. So it's kind of a.
I also think almost all of the examples that we were just talking about are like artists that will be just fine if they missed out on a couple $1 million. Not that like, you know, we could get into the streaming payouts and how much money people are actually making, but these are all, you know, we're coming back around to rich people complaining, and it's hard for me to care about. Paramore is a little different, but you know, I think all of these artist mentions aren't really missing out on. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just, you know,
yeah,
maybe that's a narrow-minded view to have, but I've just been hearing a lot of rich people complain lately, and I don't like it. I keep slipping into my dad voice, but
you do. I always laugh when you do it.
Oh my God.
Me and my coworkers at the restaurant I work at, we all day we're just going back and forth talking like this. I can't stop.
Oh, I love that. I feel like some of the ones I had on the list we kind of like intertwined with other topics. So,
you know, I don't think any of these were particularly hot. Yeah, they weren't like particularly controversial takes, but they were all things that like, you know, I always have those complaints sitting right here at like right here, you know.
We'll have to do like we always say, an uncensored real hot take episode.
We'd have to like sell tickets for that because I feel like that
or like start something where someone has to subscribe to something to get it or something like that.
Yeah.
Is this us starting a Patreon?
Oh no.
Maybe down the line. Really quick before we jump into like favorite songs or anything. A couple more people on tour came up to me and said they listened to the podcast.
Oh yay!
And thank you guys.
That makes me really happy. Everybody the fans were like super, super nice on this tour.
Well, good.
And it always, you know, I get emotional when people are nice to me. So
that's awesome. So shout out to all of you if you're listening now.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
I didn't catch a lot of names, but I definitely had a few people come up to me and say that they listen in and they like our stuff, and
we appreciate it.
You know,
like
it's just nice to not be shouting into the void. Yeah. We spent a lot of time on it too.
It's awesome, and Amanda will be going back out on tour in November.
Yes. Get your VIP.
It'll be her birthday during that, so be sure to bring her all the gifts.
Tips.
Tips. My birthday is the LA show, the Hollywood show. So.
Oh, nice. That's a big one.
Yeah, it's a stressful one.
Is that at Whiskey? Is that at Whiskey again?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. Which, it's always a good show. It's just, we have to load in. Once we load in, we have to park across the street. So if I have to restock anything, I have to like run across traffic and then run back.
Yeah.
And then, you know, but it's always a good show. And the people are
I think there's
cool.
a lot of VIP for that one too.
There usually is, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
But yeah, everyone, the fans were super cool. Everyone was really nice. We had some vehicle hiccups, but it all worked out in the end. Shout out to the Masquerade for letting us sleep in their green rooms that night. That was really, really cool. And they didn't have to do that, but they did. I just wanted to make sure I said that. But anyway.
All right. Songs of the week, guys.
Yes, let's do it.
Well, I'm going to have two of them. Because before we started recording, when I woke up this morning, my song of the week was going to be Margaritaville. But then right before we started recording, Steve Harwell died. His name is Steve Harwell, right? Hang on, really quick.
Steve Harwell. Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Harwell.
Right before we started recording, it was announced that Steve Harwell died. So now it's Margaritaville and All Star. Can't not mention All Star.
Gotta put both of them on the list.
That song is 100%. Part of my personality.
Yeah.
She's like, we know. Yes, it is.
All right, Haley, give us yours.
I think in lieu of the conversation today about With Confidence, I'm going to put Archers by With Confidence as my song of the week.
Awesome.
Nice.
Awesome. And
bring us home, Courtney.
Yeah. And for the conversation too, I'm gonna do Howie, You're a Freak by Bearings. It's on their new album. So go check out. The whole album's good.
Nice.
So awesome.
I will definitely go check
all
it out.
Very on point songs that we talked about. So sometimes we get some wild cards, but all right. Well, thinking we have just the Alesana tour coming up, and then tune in October for our exciting news. And I think, is anybody else? Oh, I Set to Kill is out on tour this month for their few shows. So go do those.
That's right.
Go check all those out.
I think they're in Texas.
If you haven't already, which if you haven't, I'm judging you. But the new Gold Step single has been out for a while now, at least 2 weeks now. Undercover.
Yeah, we talked about it on the
very
last
good.
episode, so that was before it came out.
There's a music video out. Go watch it. Follow them on TikTok. They're working really hard.
Yeah.
Go follow. I mean, obviously follow all of the bands, but they have a new song out, so go check it out.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for tuning in this week. Another episode of us just rambling. And then our next episode, we should have a guest. Hopefully.
Yes. I have to ask him still, but we should.
Okay. So tune in. But I think the fans will be excited for our next guest. And we'll talk to you next time. So thank you for joining in. And have a good, when does this come out? Week, because it comes out on Mondays.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for tuning in to the You, Me, and the Scene podcast. New episodes are released every other Monday.